the last few weeks, I have been on a mission to transform my bedroom into a cozy escape with a dark academia vibe. But the academia part is missing. These are the kind of bookshelves I want, but those prices are way out of my budget. So we went to IKEA, picked up some super cheap, boring bookshelves, and my goal is to take this trim and hopefully turn these boring bookshelves into something that actually fits the vibe. But will all that work actually be worth it? Oh, crap.
Maybe I don't even want to read anymore.
I quit. Here's the plan. First, Tony's gonna paint. And while Tony paints, I'm going to be building the base with the feet where the bookshelves are gonna go on. I'm gonna add all of the trim that's gonna make this bookshelf look very pretty, very magical. Then I gotta build the doors. And after that, I have to reinforce the shelves because I've had some bad experiences with the shelves sagging. First, we gotta prep. Okay, let's get to work. I'm about to build the base with feet. Why? Because I'm not doing built-in shelves, and I know that's what most people do when they do IKEA hacks. But if we move in the future, I would like to take this with us. Hopefully it doesn't fall apart. And I just thought it would look better with feet. While I was working on this, Tony had her own list of things to do inside.
Tony's first task was sanding all of the things. She started the day excited and full of life, hoping that by the evening she and Tiffany would do something fun, perhaps watch a movie or play a video game or even just do some arts and crafts. The great thing about helping your loved one when they are trying to accomplish a thing is that their thing gets done faster and then you can do fun things together. After sanding, Tony had to clean all of the things so the dust would not get in the paint. That is very important. Meanwhile, Tiffany was also doing something important.
Misty! You found a stick! Oh, good girl, Misty. Good girl. Good girl, Misty. Good girl. You're such a good girl.
While Tiffany was playing with Misty, it was time for Tony to start priming. She used bin primer, which is a very stinky thing, but it sticks to everything. It starts out looking like poop, so you have to stir it, and look at this magnificent shot of my elbow while I do that. After a while, it now looked more like milk than poop, so we were ready to paint.
Everything seemed to be going well for Tony, so I kept working on adding the feet to the base. Every time I buy feet that are already made with threads, I run into problems. And I thought I had this figured out. I have the threaded inserts from my last project, which was the bed, but they are too big. See, they'll stick out. So I'm gonna order new ones that are shorter and finish this later. And in the meantime, I'll just continue working on everything else. This is the front edge. I don't want it to look plain, so let's make it pretty. I don't want these to be sharp in case somebody runs into it, you know? That would hurt.
While Tiffany was having a great time spackling, things were no longer going so well for Tony. Tony had edited many satisfying montages of Tiffany spackling, so she thought it would be satisfying and easy to do herself. But she was mistaken. It was not easy, or simple, or fun, or satisfying in any way, shape, or form. In fact, she absolutely hated it. Every moment made her question her sanity, her life choices, everything that had brought her to this point.
I hate this crap. This is so easy, Tony. It's not straightforward, it's stupid, it's gross, and I hate my life right now. Not only do I no longer want this bookshelf, I'm considering maybe I don't even want to read anymore. That's an exaggeration. But this sucks.
Tony was so miserable for so long that day turned to night, and finally Tiffany arrived to save her from herself.
After rescuing Tony from an eternity of spackling holes, we wanted to treat ourselves to dinner. So what are you cooking for dinner?
Oh, I'm not cooking tonight. Suvi is.
Who's Suvi?
Suvi is today's sponsor.
Suvi 3.0 is a smart countertop oven and meal delivery service. It is so easy to grab a meal out of the freezer, dump it in the pans, and throw the pans in. All we have to do is scan the meal card and tell Suvi what time we want to eat.
Ever since Tony got the sous vide, she's been in love with it. It has a cool to cook technology that keeps food refrigerated for up to 24 hours before cooking. So I don't even have to be there. If I'm running behind on a project, we can easily reschedule the meal. Or we can tell it to start cooking right away if I get done early. That never happens.
Normally when I cook, I have to set aside so much time to figure out what time to start cooking what thing. And when Tiffany is running late, then I have to do the math all over again. So to have something do that for me, it takes so much stress off of me.
There's over 50 chef-created meals every week, so there's a lot to choose from. We've tried several of them, and they're so satisfying and filling.
It's also easy to throw custom meals together too, even if you don't know much about cooking. Tell Suvi what kind of meat or veggies you're cooking in the app, and Suvi will automatically calculate the best way to cook it for you.
There's also over 15 cook modes. So if you want to customize things a little more, you have plenty of options. All you have to do is throw in the ingredients and the spices. It's so nice to not have to be interrupted during the day when we're in the middle of a project and still have a filling meal at the end of the day. So if you want to check out sous vide, they have a 100-day risk-free trial, so you can scan the QR code or check the link in the description. Thank you, sous vide, for sponsoring this video. This is the decorative trim I'm gonna use for the sides and the middle. But when I put it on, it sticks out here, like there's nothing to hold it on this side. So now I gotta build the side up so that this has something to sit on. But that also means that I have to cover the side with a panel. So I plan on using 1/4-inch plywood to do that. But the problem is that I am now going to have an ugly edge. I could cover the edge with decorative trim, but that's gonna make the shelves wider than what I made the base. And I already made the base and didn't account for this. So now I have to rip the wood to the exact size so that I can mount the plywood panel flush with this trim. I'm ripping a 2x4 to size so that the 1/4-inch panel sits flush on the side of the bookshelves. My plan is to attach strips of 2x4s on the side and then attach the 1/4-inch panel to them. All right, ready? There are wasps everywhere, so Tony's gonna spot me here so I don't get stung while I'm cutting this big old piece of wood. Thank you, Tony. Put that one out there.
Huh?
Put that one out there. For painting.
What?
So my plan isn't going to work because when I put the panel, it bows. So I'm gonna have to add more wood, basically build a frame. So instead of just doing the strips, I built a frame around the side and that seemed to work better. But I spent the entire day ripping and cutting wood to size just so I could add pretty decorative trim later.
Today's painting day, and we're taking it very seriously. We put together a whole assembly line so we can just get it done all at once. Tony's gonna start on one end, and I'm gonna start on the other end, and then we also gotta paint inside. We have more stuff to paint inside.
Having everything set up like this made painting go very fast. If she wasn't here painting with me, this would have taken me forever, but it still took a couple days because of drying times. I'm using urethane base paint because I've read that is one of the best ones to use for these type of projects, but I'm not confident that it sticks to the melamine materials that these bookshelves are made of. Even after sanding and priming, I noticed that the paint scratches off very easy, but I'm hoping that after it fully cures, which will take days, it will stop doing that. Everything's painted and dry, so now I gotta put it all together. I have cat hair on my pants. So I got the right size threaded insert, so I'm gonna go ahead and attach the feet. But there's something that I keep worrying about, and I'm just afraid that it might not be strong enough for the amount of weight that's gonna go on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 2x4s as support in the middle, and that should avoid it from ever bowing, and just overall just adding more support. Then I can sleep at night. They won't be visible because they're gonna be under and in the middle, so I'm gonna paint them the same color, but they won't really be visible. Now that this is dry, I'm gonna put furniture pads on this so that it doesn't scratch the floor. Once everything's put together, it's probably gonna be so heavy that the only option is gonna be to drag it across the floor. Please tell me I didn't make this too small. How did I screw this up? I spent so long. Are you serious? I quit. After checking the stability of the wrong size base I just built, to see if I needed to adjust anything else, I went ahead and cut the new one to size, painted it, and my day was gone. Because I needed to wait for it to dry before I could move forward.
Coming to you live from Florida, it's Tony and her brother.
Hi.
Picking up in the game, in the going, in the in the High five.
Hang on.
So what I'm doing right now is attaching the bookshelves together by screwing them into the little pieces of wood that I put in between. And I'm using these very thin trim screws so that they're barely visible. I'm also attaching the bookshelves to the base with the little L brackets, but I'm doing that from the back and under, so that way everything's secure.
So this right here is where the crown molding is gonna sit on. So I needed some sort of surface to nail the crown to. I forgot how to install crown, so I'm watching my own video to remember it.
So I realized that the piece that I mounted for the crown was a little too tall, and since I didn't want it showing behind the crown, I decided to install the crown a little bit higher and add a decorative piece underneath. I got the crown molding right the first time.
I got sidetracked yesterday and never put the middle trim on, so I just did it real quick, and I was so excited to do this part because you can actually start to see this taking shape, and it's just so pretty. Like, this does not look like an IKEA bookshelf anymore, and I'm so excited that it's coming together so nicely. Now I gotta build doors. And I only did that once before when I built the laundry cabinet, but I already forgot. Not in the right spot at all. So I even ordered the wrong hinges for this. So then I had to go to the store and get more hinges. And then I built this questionable prototype to figure out what hinges I needed and how I was gonna build the doors, because there's no frame for me to mount the doors to, so I have to build them as inset doors, meaning like the door goes inside of the frame. Anyways, this was a whole learning journey for me. Let's leave it at that. So now I'm gonna go and cut some wood. I have my measurement and my stopping block, and my plan is to, after I cut them, is to cut a little groove here and then a little tongue on the other piece of the door, and basically join them together to make a frame. This is my test piece that clearly did not work because I made it too loose. So hopefully when I do this one, I do it correctly. And the reason for the groove is so that I can slide plywood. That's gonna be the center panel. So I cut the first tongue to go here in the groove, and I messed it up. Not only that has a big gap right there, it's also loose. I only have one more shot to get this right. Thirsty! You want more? Oh, you thirsty. You are thirsty. Yeah, this is not gonna work. This is one of those things that I watched a tutorial. It seemed simple enough. I'm like, I think I could do that. And then I go do it and this happens. Anyways, I only had two pieces I could mess up, and this is it. And I'm still not getting it right. It is extremely tedious to even try to cut the tongue on this. So I need a different plan. Oh, crap.
I'm not gonna lie, this was a huge disappointment. I've been wanting to learn joinery and I thought this project was a perfect chance, but yeah. Either the table saw isn't the right tool or I'm just not doing it right. Probably both. It felt like studying really hard for a test and then getting a big fat F on it. And since I was running short on time, I went back to beginner mode just using pocket screws. I'll save the fancy joinery for another day.
I didn't want this to look super plain, so I added the same decorative trim I added to the bed when I was building it, and then to finish it off, like a smaller trim around it. And I just think that looks very pretty. I need to drill the hinges for the doors, and I should mount them. I should like make sure this fits before I finish gluing the trim and sand it and everything. But at this point, I've come this far, this better fit. Ah, shit. It's a huge gap here. I mean, I drilled the hinge where it's supposed to be, but I didn't account for the toe kick here. So I just gotta drill the hole higher. Well, they fit, so that's good news. It's nighttime and I don't want to sand outside or in the shed, so I guess we'll finish them tomorrow.
I use fast setting epoxy to glue the trim. Normally I would go with wood glue, but since I was short on time and wood glue takes forever to dry, I went with epoxy instead. I originally thought this project would take about 7 days, but it went way over that. You're watching a very edited version, so it might look like I didn't do much on some days, but between cutting endless little pieces of trim, making sure everything actually fits, and waiting on dry times, it felt like this project was never going to end. I have the doors drying. I've done 2 coats, but while they dry, I need to reinforce the shelves so that they don't eventually start smiling. To reinforce the shelves, I'm basically using a 1x2 that's gonna go in the back under the existing shelf, and I'm securing it using trim screws. I'm also going to be adding a small piece to the front of the shelf, and the seam is going to be covered with decorative trim. I'm worried about how bad the paint is scratching off after we took a lot of steps to make sure this didn't happen. So if you have any experience painting IKEA furniture, let me know what I did wrong and how to avoid this. In the last video, I shared how much I spent on all of the materials, but after a few changes and way too many trips back to the store, the total shifted a little bit. Honestly, I'm surprised this project still came in under $1,000 because when I was looking online, the prices for these nice decorated bookcases, they were pretty high, and I'm pretty sure they don't send someone to assemble them for you either. But you know what? I got to make them look exactly how I wanted, and even after almost 2 weeks of work and a couple of those what was I thinking moments, it was totally worth it. Thank you everyone for joining me in this journey, and thank you patrons and members for your support. I will see you all on the next video. Don't forget to check out Sous Vide and get 16 free meals with your Sous Vide order. I'll have the link in the description.